Harvey Vale opened his Queen's Park Rangers goal-scoring account on Saturday afternoon, felling second-place Stoke City in the 75th minute with a Zamora-esque finish to make it 3 wins on the trot for the R's and back-to-back home victories for the first time since January. I'm Connor, aka Hoopsa. I cover all things QPR, and in this match reaction, I'm going to be discussing all of the major talking points from QPR 1, Stoke 0. So if you enjoy the video, make sure to hit like and subscribe, and let's get stuck in. Having openly discussed the need for a more defensive approach in order to combat a bright starting Stoke City during the week, for the first time this season, Julian Stefan instead named an unchanged starting 11, retaining his 2-striker attacking setup from last weekend's 3-1 win at Wrexham. This is a man that likes attacking so much that he even left out Escudina from the bench this time in favour of the returning Paul Smith to give himself more offensive options. One of just 2 changes to our substitutes aside from the recent addition of backup goalkeeper Ben Harmer, who arrived on a short-term deal earlier in the week. And just as we saw in North East Wales, that attacking-minded setup created some very early chances for the R's to take the lead. The first opportunity of the game just 4 minutes in fell to eventual game winner Harvey Vale, and it was the type of on-the-plate chance we were gifting to other teams just a handful of games ago. When Victor Johansson rolled the ball out from the back to Lewis Baker, Liam Morrison pressed high and shifted possession onto Richard Kone just outside the box, the Ivorian coolly playing the ball into free as a bird Vale, but he put his shot straight into the keeper's path for a missed chance that we would surely be ruining had Rangers not gone on to win. Koki Saito, who was excellent all game, was up next a couple of minutes later when Jonathan Varane won his first 2 duels before charging up the pitch, the Japanese winger eventually mopping up the lost ball before striking from range, an effort that Johansson smothered at the bottom right corner. There wasn't a whole lot of goal-mouth action for the next 15 minutes or so, Rangers quite happy to let the Potters have the ball and absorb pressure before hitting on the counter. With just 35% possession, it's an approach I wasn't sure we'd see at home, and it's one that continues to squeeze out more potential from these players than when we were trying to dominate. Varane was classy as usual as the 6, winning 7 of his 9 duels during his hour on the pitch and playing the ball forward much more frequently than we've seen in the past. It's the ingredient he's been missing from his game, and it's one that not only improves this team, but will only add to any potential value he accrues over the course of the season. Just as good though was Nicholas Madsen. Top in the squad for chances created and ball recoveries heading into this game, the Dane picked up where he left off last weekend, not only providing the quality and possession we know he has in his locker, but also putting in some real crucial blockers, particularly in the opening quarter of the game, to deny Stoke any opportunity of real note. 2 more Rangers chances followed on the counter from King Kone, the first a miss to the right on 20 minutes and the second a miss to the left on 30. The latter came about once again from QPR's much improved press, the striker hassling Ben Pearson off of the ball in midfield and Vale playing him down the wing before he chopped past Pearson once again in the box and flashed a dangerous shot past the left post. Pearson was at the heart of it again before the half was out when mad as a box of frogs Amadou Mabenge took a sizable chunk out of his leg in what had initially looked like a 50-50 in the stands, but if you've seen the still of it doing the rounds now, it's an absolute miracle Mabenge made it out of the incident both uncarded and still on the football pitch. He's already on 4 yellows from 5 starts, so you don't need a crystal ball to say we'll be discussing at least one Mabenge red card incident this season. I love watching him and his passion is infectious, but I think we need to keep Steve Cook warmed up in the games to come. For counterbalance, Pearson was very fortunate to stay on the pitch himself a few minutes later when he eventually returned to the action, smashing through Romain Barrel as he darted down the left wing and earning himself both a yellow card and the hook at half time. The match had fizzled out into something much more resembling the usual hustle and bustle of a QPR Stoke meeting by the time of the break, but Saito reignited things early in the second with another long-range effort that Johansson was this time unable to catch, Vale following up the rebound but unable to attempt a finish from an awkward angle. Despite not having a shot on target in the first half, Stoke soon did fire a warning that they were still in this game when Sorba Thomas gave Jimmy Dunn the runaround on 52 minutes before whipping in a brilliant ball to the back post that Milian Manouf really should have buried, but his header thankfully dinked over the crossbar. The Rangers' chances kept on coming though, and in honesty, it's amazing this game was just a 1-0 win. Kone headed over the bar. Saito found himself in great space in the box after linking up with both strikers, but had his ball steered out for a corner. Vale couldn't get the resulting clearance under control for a volley, but the next phase saw Kone chest Barrel's deflected cross down for Madsen to swipe a respectable shot outside the box over the bar. After Isaac Hayden replaced Varane just past the hour mark, Vale looked like he'd finally got the job done with a well-hit shot from distance himself, but Johansson produced another Hollywood save. The fact that Stoke paid just 750 grand for him last year remains fantastic business. The best chance of the game came a minute later from a Mbenge ball over the top, the defender ending a moment of Stoke pressure by sending it skyward to a waving Kone. Burrell had also started up his engine, and within a flash the striker had set himself up for a simple square ball into the box, but his attempt to slot it into the bottom right was smothered once again by the bear hug span of Johansson's arms. Swap the strikers' positions and it probably would have been a goal. The beauty of this new look QPR team though is there appears to be no shortage of creativity, and these players didn't really get frustrated. They just kept producing until they found an opening, and having been involved from the get-go, Harvey Vale was very deserving to be the one to finally do so on 75 minutes. I'm not the only one to say that the goal was frighteningly Zamora-esque in its entirety. Hoylett Saito dragging the ball to the line for the cutback, Keogh Baker fumbling the block, and Zamora Vale placing a beautifully curled first-time shot into the top left corner to ignite pandemonium in the loft. It had been difficult to see what else Stefan could change aside from his wingers, the Frenchman himself admitting he was moments away from sending Dembele on in the goalscorer's place. But in a continuation of his talk of adaptation, the gaffer made no further substitutes, praising the performance and fitness of his starting 11, which once again is something that feels weird to say given where we were this time last month. There were obviously still some moments to make us all sweat to come. An ill-judged failed pass from the back from Morrison just minutes later gave Lamine Cisse a free shot at goal, which he thankfully sent into the direction of the away fans. But the Scotsman did more than redeem himself when an even bigger scare came in the first minute of added time, when Paul Nardi stayed true to his glaring weakness and inexplicably fumbled what should have been a routine catch. His terrible parry not only leaving him well wide of his net, but landing straight in front of Aaron Cresswell, who hit the ball on the half volley for an almost certain gut-punching equaliser, until Morrison heroically smashed the ball away on the line in a moment just as important to the win as the goal. It's safe to say that Loftus Road sighed a big breath of relief at full time, with Mbenge and Kone once more leading some very welcome celebrations in front of the R block. Now, 3-1 wins are naturally more exciting, but that was probably our best performance of the season for me just because of how balanced QPR looked. The creativity in spades is greatly welcomed. There are multiple threats in this side now, and that was without having to call upon any of Dembele, Smith, Frey or Colley, or having Poku or Chair available. As I say, what I was impressed with even more though is just how balanced this team looks, even with two centre forwards in it. Against a team that had won 4 of their first championship matches prior to visiting Loftus Road, we looked sturdy and they were limited to very little outside of our own mistakes. Ironed those couple of moments out completely, and that would have been a 1-0 win that was incredibly flattering of a decent Stoke team. Having started the season looking like we'd be in for the same old story, Stefan and his players have corrected things very quickly to give themselves a platform to write a new one of their own, and I'm just fascinated to see what that looks like, particularly as we start to head into 3-game weeks. Anyway, that's all from me. Now it's over to you. What did you think about this win? Please let me know in the comments down below. Thank you so much for tuning in as ever. If you're new to Hoopsa and you've enjoyed this one, please think about hitting like and subscribe, and hopefully I'll see you again in the future. Cheers!